Death is no stranger on the desert. Lurking behind a mask of desolate silence, it plays a waiting game, waiting for the foolhardy whose bleached bones remain a monument to its treachery. Now, Mrs. Arlette Mosser of Baltimore, Maryland, asked for it, and she wrote, "During the past few weeks, I've read of several cases where tourists and prospectors wandered off into the desert and lost their lives. Having lived on the desert, I'm of the opinion that many people have no conception of its danger. Perhaps if you could show the hazards of straying into the desert, it might serve as a warning. I'm asking for it." Well, Mrs. Mosser, to answer your request, we enlisted the aid of the park rangers of the Death Valley National Monument. With their help, we reconstructed the story of a man who recently ignored ordinary precautions and went astray in this inferno of torturing sun and burning sand. You asked for it.
It began, I guess you might say, at that filling station. Last stop for water before the desert itself. And the guy was shaking his head, same way Ed down at the office had when I asked him to come along. "Prospecting," Ed says to me, "in Death Valley, in August?" Bertie says to me, "You must be nuts." So I came along. After all, who's going to get in trouble so long as you use your head?
For me, that day in August was routine. Sure, it was hot, just under 120. But a ranger out here learns to live with heat. My particular assignment that day was patrol. So a little after noon, I set out to get it done.
There, Geiger counter all in order. It is a little hot, all right. But uranium, here I come. Yep, Bertie says to me, "You must be nuts." Well, wouldn't I just have the laugh on old Ed if I really did strike? It moved. I'm sure I saw the indicator move. Now, this spot's good enough for me. I'll just set up sort of a headquarters right here. Then I won't have to lug all this junk. Man, I'm glad I brought plenty of water.
Yes, for me, that August day was routine. We patrol the valley highways, checking all the side roads along the way. A shovel mark lets us know if anyone has turned off since the last patrol. Sometimes it seems a needless precaution, but experience has taught us that main highways are safe enough even in midsummer. It's the man who ventures away from the paved roads who finds himself in trouble.
These rocks, they all look alike. I know I left it right around here somewhere. I can't see. Everything looks fuzzy. Even the sun looks funny.
When you find a car abandoned in the desert, you move. A radio call to headquarters tells you if the occupant has turned up. If he hasn't, you've got a problem on your hands. Dehydration is man's prime desert enemy. Under adverse conditions, a straggler can lose much of his body moisture in a short time. It doesn't take too much of a loss to be fatal. Before that, panic usually sets in. Victims have been known to rip off their clothing in search of relief from the heat. They lose coordination, sense of direction, the ability to think. In short, unless help reaches them in time, they end in a wild frenzy of search for water with little chance of survival.
That's how the Desert Patrol takes the death out of Death Valley. Well, Matt Ryan, for the benefit of those who travel other desert areas outside the jurisdiction of park rangers, what further advice can you give?
Well, first of all, if you plan a desert trip, make sure your automobile can take it. Have your car thoroughly inspected for all the obvious weak spots. However, if you should develop car trouble on the desert, above all, stay with your car until help comes. Remain in your car. That's preferable. If you stay on the highway, someone is bound to come by. Remember, more people meet disaster away from their car than with it.
Well, take heed of that advice. It might come in handy. In the summertime on the desert, play it safe. Mrs. Mosser, you asked for it. It's been a real pleasure having you with us. So long for now.